Hello everyone, welcome along to today's webinar. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your festive Saturdays to join me. I have just about stopped eating chocolate long enough to spend this hour with you. So thank you so much for coming along. As you saw on the title slide, this session is going to be a giant questions and answers session where you get to ask me anything you would like to know about the world of TEFL. My name is Mairead and I have been in the TEFL industry since 2004. So over 20 years now. So hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions you might have. And if I can't answer, I'll be able to point you at least in the right direction. I've been with the TEFL Academy since 2015. So hopefully I will also be able to answer any course related or assignment related questions you might have. So with that being said, let's begin. Why don't you type your name and location in the chat box, just so I can get an idea of where you're all tuning in from. That always makes me happy. It's, the very international nature of TEFL that just really appeals to me. I just find it fascinating that one industry can unite people literally from all over the world. So pop your details into the chat box. Let me know who's watching. And of course, if you have any questions about anything, you can start typing them in too. All right. So let our questions and answers begin. So hello, Belinda in lovely, warm Florida. Oh my gosh, Belinda, I am so jealous. I am in very cold Ireland, in the west of Ireland. It is currently, let me check, it is 1 degree, 1 whole degree Celsius. It's been freezing the last couple of nights though, and it's pretty chilly. But that's okay because, we have nice blue skies, we can see the sun, we can't feel the warmth, but we can see it. All is good. So thank you, Belinda. Enjoy the sunshine for me. We have Jocelyn in Tennessee, USA. Oh, amazing. I wish I could hear you speak, Jocelyn. I'm obsessed with the accent from that part of the world. I bet you sound amazing. Thank you for joining us. We have Kirsati in South Africa. Oh, you're also in summertime, right? I bet you're enjoying the sun. We have Willem in South Africa also. Amazing. Oh, I'm so jealous of you all in these lovely warm places. Sarati, I saw you in one of the videos in the units. That was so cool. Oh, good. Good. I'm glad you find it useful. We're definitely trying to up our video content and, we've put in some recorded lessons. So hopefully that all helps you get a better picture of what TEFL entails. Yeah, summertime, right? Oh, so nice. So nice. That must be lovely. All right. So I wonder, Belinda and Jocelyn and Willem and Sarati, do you have any questions for me? Perhaps you have some questions about the course. Maybe you're doing a particular unit that you have questions about. Maybe you have some questions about an assignment. Maybe you would like to know more about the world of teaching, whether it's face-to-face in a classroom, whether it's online. Maybe you have questions about different countries, how the whole job works. Maybe you are considering teaching young learners, maybe adults, maybe teenagers, and you have some questions about that. Now is your time. I do not want you to leave this session with any TEFL doubts. Okay, Willem, 34 degrees Celsius. Oh, Willem, wow. I just can't even imagine what that must feel like. It must be glorious. Yeah, I am here with my 1 degree Celsius and it is cold. I have the fire on, the heat is on. It's all happening and I'm still cold. I lived in Spain for a long time, for nearly 10 years. So I definitely know what warm weather feels like, and I definitely miss it. I think in Spain, the hottest temperature I remember was 48 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that was freezing. Oh, freezing. That was roasting. That was like the hottest I have ever been in my life, but it was still better than cold. All right. It's a shame, William, you can't just donate some degrees Celsius to me. So, Jocelyn, I see a question. The course uses British English spelling. Would I get marked down for using American English spelling? Oh, absolutely not, Jocelyn. And actually, this is a question my students ask me all the time too. Like, should I aim for British English or should I aim for American English? Genuinely, it doesn't matter. Choose whichever, as long as you are consistent. The only way that it would be a problem, Jocelyn, or a problem for students, is if it's inconsistent and you're using a mix of both, because then it gives the impression that maybe you're not sure. So yeah, you choose your American English spelling, no problem, as long as you use it super consistently. But yeah, I'm a fan of American spelling. In Ireland, we use British English. But yeah, I do see a lot going for the American English spelling. So yeah, please do feel free to use it, whatever comes most naturally. Willem, I saw your videos. I love your teaching methods. Oh, thank you. When does it come so naturally? Oh, Willem, as with everything in life, practice. It takes time, but once it sinks in, you just do it automatically without even thinking. Willem, can you drive a car? I always think like teaching is just like driving. The process is exactly the same. I know when I started driving, I could not wrap my head around doing so many things at once. Like, how was I meant to watch what I was doing, look at my mirrors, do the steering wheel, use the gear stick, work the pedals? I could never imagine being able to do all of that simultaneously. But, you just do it, you practice, and yeah, after a while, you're doing it. So yeah, practice makes perfect. I know it can be, as with driving, teaching can be very daunting, like when you've never done it before. Like the idea of standing in front of a class doing it is kind of terrifying, but trust me, the only way out is through. You've just got to do it. Okay, no amount of thinking about it will prepare you for the reality. You've just got to go in there and do it. And it will come. And without you even realizing, it will become natural. It genuinely is just practice. And also, when you start out and you're planning your lessons, really put in the time, because a lot of teaching is just the same thing over and over and over, just the content changes. So, once you know how a stage goes and how to plan a stage, how to begin it, what to do during it and how to wrap it up, that is essentially what you will be doing all day, every day. Just the things you're saying and the things you're teaching changes. So yeah, put in the work at first, understand your lesson, be clear why you're doing everything and what the purpose of each thing is. And yeah, it will become automatic, I promise. But like everything, it takes practice and it takes time. All right. We have Belinda. What areas of the world are the most demanding? Or what areas are... Oh, I'm sorry, Belinda. Oof, I think I'm having sugar overload. What areas of the world are most demanding English courses? Gosh, Belinda, literally everywhere. I would say at the moment, Asia is a huge, booming market. The usual suspects, right? We have China, South Korea, Japan, but we have real up and coming destinations like Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, where the markets are just absolutely exploding. There is the usual high level of demand in Europe, Italy, Spain, the usual suspects there. But all across Europe, Eastern Europe, the demand is pretty high. South America is doing its thing. South and Central America, there is always a demand there. Pretty much wherever you want to go, Belinda, there will be something happening. Do you have any part of the world in mind? Why don't you pop it in the comments? Like, is there a particular region that interests you? Do let us know. But generally, I mean, the market all over the world is booming. And of course, that's before we even start to consider online teaching. As you know, online is just going from strength to strength. Huge demand for online teaching too, without having to leave the comfort of your own home. So let me know what you think you would be into. Is it traveling? Is it online? And do you have any particular geographical area in mind? And that goes for all of you, let me know. I love to hear these these plans, because I was all of you back in the day, back in 2003. So I love to hear all of your plans and to help you make those come to fruition, hopefully. Sharon in Cape Town. Welcome, Sharon. You are very, very welcome. Do let me know if you have any questions, or if you want to fill me in a little bit on your teaching plans. Please hit the chat box. Belinda, any industry specific demands like business? Oh yeah, so there is a huge rise in like what we call niche teaching, or ESP. That is English for specific purposes. Business English is in very high demand, and that is becoming even more specialized now. So instead of just generic business English, you might find yourself specializing in an area that you have experience in. For example, English for marketing, English for law, English for medicine, or English for corporate workers. So you can like even boil it down more specifically to a particular business niche. ESP, English for specific purposes, is huge. Like if you have any sector, English for healthcare is another one, or English for hospitality. So, if you have any particular niche or interest, do consider specializing in teaching English for that niche. But I think to start with, Belinda, like if you don't have any teaching experience, don't be afraid to just go down the general English route, because that will give you a grounding and a very solid grounding that you can later specialize in. All right. Let's see, Willem, have you ever taught a class and none of the students understand what you were saying? Where do you start? I don't think so, Willem. They have always understood something. And, that is the job of teaching. It's making yourself understood, even if you don't share a whole lot of the same language in common. If you're teaching beginners, like real beginners, as we say in the online course, it's really important that you use lots of visuals, like lots of pictures, lots of gestures, lots of body language, lots of pointing, like my name is, what's your name? Okay, your, you're doing lots and lots of gestures. And when you are teaching beginners, you've really got to like pare back your teacher talk time. So if we say too much too quickly, it's going to overwhelm them. So we've got to be super conscious of keeping our language to keeping our speech to a minimum, and then reinforcing it with lots of visual aids and gestures. I think as well, Willem, when you start teaching, think about what you would expect to learn if you were learning a new language. Like if I decided tomorrow that I wanted to learn Polish, going into my first class, I would expect to learn things like, what's your name? My name is. Yeah, where are you from? I'm from whatever. Okay, these are the basics that we expect to learn, right? In a class with a new teacher, a new language, if we are very, 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 very low level. So, give the students what they expect, Don't go in with anything too complicated the first day. Just teach them the greetings and the basic introductions, because that's what they'll expect to learn. And, that is half the battle, giving them what they expect. And then once you have done your first class and you've done your basic introductions and your basic greetings, well, then you can build on that little by little by little. But yeah, keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it expected, and use tons and tons of visuals. If you're teaching above beginner level, like if you're doing like intermediate or whatever, just go in and do your thing. They should be able to understand you. Just try not to speak too much, like don't overwhelm them with speech, and try to just slow your pace a little until you gauge their level of understanding. Okay, try not to go in speaking super quickly, because then they probably won't understand, and in turn that'll make you nervous, in turn that'll make them nervous, and things will spiral. So yeah, just go in with a lot of calm, a lot of patience, a lot of visual reinforcement, and I'm sure you will be absolutely fine. All right, so hello Andrea. Given Switzerland's stricter requirements, is this TEFL certificate recognized there? Switzerland, I know when it comes to second, like primary and secondary education, I know they have pretty strict requirements. Off the top of my head, I am not sure what they require for TEFL teachers, but I cannot see why this certificate would not be recognized there if you wanted to teach in like a language school. I'm not so sure about their state education system, but yeah, you can definitely hop online and see what their requirements are for TEFL teachers, rather than state teachers, because it's a different sector. But yeah, I don't see why it would not be recognized, Andrea. I have certainly never heard that it's not recognized for TEFL. So yeah, I've never taught in Switzerland. I have taught lots of students from Switzerland though. And the reason I know that their state education system is very strict on requirements is that I have taught a lot of Swiss teachers who come to Ireland needing C1 or C2 level certification in order to be a primary school teacher or a secondary school teacher. But yeah, as for TEFL, I am not sure. Okay. Let me see. Belinda, I'm a licensed teacher in Florida and have a business degree. Ah, amazing. When you say licensed teacher, Belinda, is that elementary school or high school or middle? Or is it something different, like further education? Let me know. I always like to know these things. Okay. And Andrea, do employers consider top-up courses as added value? Absolutely. Alongside the TEFL certificate? Sure. Absolutely. Like if you have your top-up course, say in business English, that is super valuable. If you have it in young learners, private language schools would be very interested in that, as the likelihood is that you would be teaching young learners in a language school. So yeah, whatever you can do, Andrea, to give yourselves the edge, it is absolutely worth it. And, just for yourself and your own confidence as a teacher, it just brings an extra facet to your skills that you will be able to exploit. Okay, so yeah, if you have an option to do some top-up courses, do it. As I was saying earlier, TEFL is becoming, well, a lot of TEFL is becoming about the niche. And if you can find a niche that you genuinely love and are interested in, that's amazing. All right. Okay, and Belinda, middle and high. I taught adult education. Oh my gosh, Belinda, this is amazing. So you're covering lots of different age groups there. And that will all be very, very valuable. Very valuable when it comes to job hunting in the TEFL industry. When I started teaching, I taught, let's see, from 2003 until 2014. I was working in private language schools, so in a couple of different countries. So I would be teaching young learners, like maybe 5 and 6 year olds. I would be teaching slightly older kids, maybe 9, 10, 11. I'd be teaching teens, and then I'd be teaching adults. So like all within 5 hours, my 5-hour teaching day. And I'd be teaching the little ones all the way up to adults. So there's a lot to be said for working in a private language school like that, because it just exposes you to everything, like all the ages, all the levels. And, once you've done that, you can definitely quite quickly get a feel for the age groups that you have more of an affinity with. I loved young learners. Like I loved working with young learners. But when I moved home to Ireland, it was more, it was definitely more of the adult age group. So like people coming to Ireland to study English for their jobs, or just moving to Ireland to start a new life, or, coming to Ireland to do proficiency exams. So since 2015, I've been working like exclusively with adults, and I love it. But yeah, a part of me really misses my young learners. And I still think of them sometimes. Like I think of my first class of young learners back in 2003, and they were only like 4 or 5 back then. And I often think, oh my gosh, they're grown up, they're adults. I wonder what they're doing out in the world. Yeah. Oh yeah, I miss my young learners. All right. So let's see. Do we have any other questions? I'm sure you do. Like a lot of students say that when they're working through the course units, like there are 10 units, right, on level 5, they often have units that they prefer and units that they do not prefer so much. We often get a lot of questions about grammar or about teaching pronunciation. So if you have any questions like about different types of concepts, like whether it's teaching vocabulary, teaching grammar, teaching pronunciation, please take the opportunity to ask. Because I know when you're just reading things on a screen, it can be hard sometimes to, assimilate all of that information. So any questions at all, do please ask. All right, Belinda, what are the chances we can have more videos of you or other TEFL teachers in the classroom? Well, there are good chances, Belinda. We are definitely looking at recording more lessons in the near future. So hopefully there will be new video additions to the course over the next couple of months or so. It's definitely something we are working on because we know that it is very, very useful. So yes, watch this space, Belinda. Hopefully we will have something in the coming months. And, it's funny with these videos, because when I was recording them, firstly, I had a lot of fun because the students were amazing. I wanted to show you the basics, But at the same time, please don't think that you all have to emulate everything that I do. Okay, that is not the point of the videos. The point of the videos is as a model lesson, but you will absolutely bring your own styles, your own personalities to your classes. That is just the best thing about teaching. You get to develop your own teaching style and personality, even though you're doing a lot of the basics, and the basics will be the fundamental the fundamentals of your lesson, but you will do it in your own style, and that's the way it should be. All right, thank you, Belinda. Willem, I started this course yesterday and I'm already on Unit 4. Whoa, you're flying. I'm concerned that I'm missing something. Not necessarily, Willem. If you're clicking through and you're on Unit 4, I mean, that is some good going. I'm super impressed. It does not necessarily mean you're missing anything. I'm sure you're not. It just means that you're enjoying it and you're taking it in. And that is a wonderful thing. So yeah, keep it up. Keep up the good work. Just a note on assignments, Willem. When are you doing level 5? I know a lot of students, they prefer to do all of the units first. Like they will do the units 1 to 10 and all of the end of unit tests, and then they will go back and do the assignments. And that's absolutely fine if you prefer to do it that way. So do the units 1 to 10 and then go back. You'll find assignment A in unit 5, assignment B in unit 7, and assignment C in unit 10. On the other hand, some students prefer to do the units and the assignments in the order that they crop up. For example, students will do 1 to 5, then they'll do assignment A. They'll do units 6 and 7, then they'll do assignment B. They'll do 8, 9, 10, and then assignment C. There is no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, you manage it however suits you best. Just bear in mind that with the assignments, if you leave them all to the end, you need to leave yourself enough time, because you can't submit one assignment until you have passed the previous. And it can take up to 5 working days to get each assignment graded. So yeah, and that goes to all of you, no matter how you structure your units and assignments. Make sure you leave yourself enough time to get everything graded before your 6 months expire. If you do find yourself under a bit of a time crunch, don't worry, just contact Student Services and they will give you options for extensions. But as a rule of thumb, we like to say that you should be submitting assignment C while you still have about 2 weeks left of your enrollment, just to make sure you have time to get everything done and dusted. Okay, so yeah, Willem, keep up the good work. You're flying. All right, so Andrea, for level 3 assignments, is the grade only pass fail, or are there higher levels like merit or distinction too? No, Andrea, just pass fail. Okay, we don't break it down any further than that. Okay. Which level 3 assignment is usually the hardest or takes the most time, A or B? Well, this is very subjective, Andrea, but from my experience, like if I were doing level 3, I think I would find level 3 assignment A more challenging than B. Okay, because for level 3 assignment A, you are planning an entire grammar lesson and everything that entails. And that can be more time consuming, especially when you are a new teacher. Whereas assignment B, it's just a little bit more, there's a little bit more variety there. It's a little bit more creative. So personally, I would find assignment A on level 3 more challenging and longer, but it's subjective. You might find it completely the opposite. All right. But yeah, good question. Okay, and Willem, yeah, you are doing level 5. All right, very good. Good, good. All right. And tell me, everyone, in terms of the type of the style of teaching you want to do in the future, like, are you looking at online? Are you looking at face-to-face? Do you have any geographical region in mind? Belinda, I know you have a lot of teaching experience as a middle and high school and adult education teacher. What about the rest of you? Like, do you have any experience teaching in any other capacity? Because remember, teaching is teaching, right? And whether you're coaching sports or whether you're leading Sunday school or whether you're volunteering as a camp guidance counselor, it is all teaching. It is all about that human connection at the end of the day. So any experience you have in the teaching or coaching field, I promise you it will have crossover into TEFL. There are so many transferable skills. Any type of teaching or tutoring or mentoring will stand you in good stead. Okay, Sharon, I would like to teach online. Ah, wonderful. So you are in Cape Town, right? So yeah, very good. As I said before, there is a big online industry. It is only getting stronger. When it comes to teaching online, Sharon, you have a couple of different options. Like, you can work for an online school, like an established school that will have its own platform and its own lessons and its own students. Or if you're feeling adventurous, you might decide to go freelance or independent, in which case you will have to get out there, market yourself, find your students, decide what area of teaching you're specializing in. Is it general English? Is it young learners? Is it business? Is it exam prep? There are advantages and disadvantages to both, to online, to working. There are advantages in online. I can't speak. There are advantages and disadvantages to both working for an online school and working as an independent teacher. Working for a school, the students are already there for you. You just have to turn up and teach. But on the other hand, if you're working as a freelance independent teacher, you get to choose your hours, you get to set your own rate of pay, you get to decide, what age group you want your students to be. Pros and cons. It's just a matter of weighing up whatever suits you best at the particular point in your life that you find yourself. And, it might change. When I started teaching online, because I started off face-to-face, but then I ended up doing like a mix of face-to-face and online. When I started online, I worked for a school. And, that was amazing for a year or so, because, it really helped me learn how to teach online without any of the added pressures of having to go out and find my own students. Because, my students were there. I just needed to turn up and teach. But then, the longer I worked for the online school, I thought, hang on, I can probably make more money if I set my own rates. I can decide my own timetable. I can decide that I don't want to teach, X age group anymore. I can specialize in a niche that interests me. So, it just totally depends. Try working for a school if you want. Try working freelance. See what fits. You have the flexibility. That is the absolute joy of online teaching. All right. And so, hello, Robert. I plan to do my teaching online. Amazing. Maybe some in person here in my country. Very nice. No plans to travel abroad and teach there. Yeah, that is, isn't that just the joy of TEFL? Like, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. It is such a, it's such a luxury, really, to have a job that works so well from home. And, you know, never say never, Robert. I mean, sure, you have no plans now, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. You will always have the option of taking your skills abroad if you ever wish to do so in the future. Okay. Willem, I have a degree in teaching. I have experience in it. Ah, amazing. Online is my preferred method of teaching because of my chronic situation. Okay, I love to share knowledge and experience. Yeah, same as that, Willem. That is the absolute joy of it. And being able to reach students from all over the world from the comfort of our own homes. Oh, it's golden. It's a wonderful thing. All right. What type of teaching, Willem? Is it like elementary school, high school, or more third level stuff? Let me know. I'm nosy. I love to know these things. Okay. Belinda, what do you think the impact of AI language learning apps will have on live teaching? Oh, AI, Belinda. Oh, gosh, yes. It's just had such a massive, very sudden impact on everything, hasn't it? Honestly, the impact on live teaching, I'm not so sure what that impact is yet. I haven't noticed a huge difference so far on live teaching, as in face-to-face synchronous learning. I haven't noticed like that students are trying to run answers through AI or anything yet. What it has had is a huge impact on the stuff that happens offline. Like if I set homework or if I set writing homework, if I set assignments, you know, that is where I notice the impact of AI, that students are clearly just using, ChatGPT to do assignments or to do essays. And I can't tell you how much it annoys me. I'm constantly trying to find out. Constantly trying to find ways to overcome this. But during live lessons, I haven't noticed that much of an impact yet. And hopefully I won't. Hopefully we won't, because, face to face, it's all we've got. It's all we've got left. All right. Thank you, Belinda. I'd be interested to know in your answer to that with all of your teaching experience. And so, Jocelyn, I've been teaching South Korean students since 2014. Oh, amazing. Phone-based lessons. Oh, how interesting. I have never done that. No video. I'm looking into doing video classes, but have yet to develop the confidence to show my face on cam. Oh, Jocelyn, how interesting. Oh, you must tell me, how does that work? Doing phone-based lessons. That's amazing. Tell me about that. Like, how long are the lessons? Do they tend to be quite short? Tell me more. This is something I know nothing about, so I'm super excited to find out more. Blow up the chat box, Jocelyn. Tell me everything. I'm sure the rest of our viewers would also be very interested to find out more about that. And, do show your face. Do it. Why wouldn't you? Just show that excitement and that enthusiasm. Do it. I'm excited. Yes, tell us everything, Jocelyn, about phone English. Is it like in a business English setting? Because I remember, I have this vague memory of teaching business English, this would have been back in 2005, 2006. I was teaching English in a corporate environment. And I remember instead of going to lessons, some days I used to just call them. I'd call the students individually for 15 minutes because they did spend a lot of their time at work on the phone speaking English. And I just wanted to give them practice speaking on the phone because, as we know, it's a totally different skill. Just speaking to someone face to face. As strange as that sounds, it's so much harder to speak on the phone because all of the visual stuff is gone. So I remember doing some classes with them, but it was really just like conversation on the phone. But that is literally my only experience of it. Yeah, gosh, so interesting. Okay, Willem, high school and university first year, Afrikaans and biology. Wow, what a combo. Amazing. So you've got the language and the science brain, Willem. That is not common. I'm jealous. I only ever had the language brain. So yeah, you were well used to then, yeah, dealing with teenagers, adults. Very good. I know a lot of new teachers are terrified of teaching teenagers. Really, there is no need to be afraid. They are people, just like us. Do you have any words of wisdom, Willem, for everybody about teaching teenagers? Let us know. So, Jocelyn, there are 10-minute, 15-minute, and 20-minute lessons. Nice. This is what I imagined. Students can choose a textbook-based lesson or casual free talking. Oh my gosh. Wow. Jocelyn, that is so interesting. Like, can you give any words of wisdom to our viewers? Like, if I asked you, Jocelyn, give me your top 3 tips for teaching English over the phone. Yeah. Think about it. What would be your top 3 tips? Let us know. I just find this endlessly fascinating. It's not often that like I come across a TEFL context that I don't really know much about. So yeah, Jocelyn, excuse my excitement, but like this is gold for me. This is absolute gold. I'm genuinely curious to know more. Willem, is online harder than face-to-face teaching for the students? I think it really depends, Willem. I mean, it depends on the personality of the student. I know some students, like they thrive in a face-to-face setting, like they thrive off the energy and the proximity. But there are definitely other students, perhaps they're a little more, a little quieter, a little more introverted. They need more time to, time and space to think, in which case they would probably thrive in an online setting. Really, I think it depends on the personality of the student, where they, where they feel more comfortable, either face-to-face or online. I do think, though, no matter what the setup is, it's you as the teacher who will set the tone of the lesson, be it face-to-face or online. I found like when I was teaching face-to-face, it was always much easier to build that rapport a lot more quickly, because you can sense the chemistry, the body language, etc. So when I made the move to teaching online, I felt like that connection was lacking a little bit. But just with time and with experience, you can really overcome that. Like, you as the teacher, you need to project yourself through the screen. You need to just be a little bit of a more vibrant version of yourself, at least in the beginning. You just need to project yourself through the screen to make up for the lack of physical proximity. And, that is very, very doable with time and experience. So yeah, I guess, is it harder? It depends on the student. But ultimately, it's up to you as the teacher to make the learning feel, personal and personable, whatever the setting. All right, good question. So, Jocelyn, most students prefer to chat casually, but ask me to come up with new topics for each class. Nice. I've collected thousands of topics over the years. Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh, I would love to see your ideas folder. They take these classes 3 to 5 days a week to keep them from getting rusty. Oh, amazing. So you can really get to know them. Like you spend, a fair bit of time with them during the week. My top tip, keep it simple, no fancy vocabulary. Yes, I love that. It's important not to overwhelm by any means. Okay. Next tip, enunciate clearly. Yes, absolutely. My South Koreans appreciate it when I speak clearly and at a pace they're comfortable with. Yeah, for sure. This goes back to something we said earlier. We've just got to, be so conscious of never overwhelming our students with too much speech or a speech that is too fast. Because, nothing will make them shut down faster than the feeling of, oh no, I don't understand. So, definitely enunciate and keep it simple. They are some great tips. Okay, so Ashu, hello. I'm doing TEFL for the first time and I've no certified teaching experience. That is fine. I want to move to Vietnam from India. What are the realities ahead? Well, Vietnam is, it's an absolute boom market at the moment for teaching. I must admit, I don't know much about the bureaucracy involved there. I don't know much in terms of like work permits and stuff. I assume you have researched that thoroughly. From what I have heard about Vietnam, it tends to be a lot of lower level learners. Okay, so I think, Ashu, you could expect to be teaching primarily like elementary, pre-intermediate students, maybe beginners. That can be, that requires a different mindset to teaching more proficient learners for sure. I think teaching young learners is quite a big part of the TEFL industry in Vietnam, especially. So, be prepared that you will in all likelihood be teaching like young kids, teenagers, etc. So be prepared for a wide age range. Not all within the same class, of course. They'll be, grouped by age, hopefully. But be prepared for young learners, be prepared for low-level learners. And just expect the unexpected, I am guessing. But that applies to anywhere in the world. But it's not a country I've ever been to or taught in, but I have heard wonderful things. So I definitely wish you the very best of luck. Let's see, Jocelyn, we have another tip. Be patient and kind. Oh, yes, this is gold in any teaching setting. Encourage them to ask questions. Some of them are painfully shy and terrified of making mistakes. Yes, I have always noticed this, Jocelyn, about students from Asian countries. Like they tend to be very hard on themselves and like very focused on not making mistakes rather than on developing fluency, which is what we want them to do. When you tell them it's okay to make mistakes, they relax and do better. Absolutely. That is certainly the right attitude to have no matter where or how you are teaching. Just always set that comfortable environment. All right. They are such pearls of wisdom, Jocelyn. Thank you so much. I love that while they are specific to teaching English in your context, they also apply to teaching, in pretty much any setting. Patient and kind. I love it. They're the words we need. All right. Gucci, I'm currently B1 intermediate. Can I successfully through this course? Well, Gucci, when you sign up for the course, it does say that the required level is C1. So you will need to really make sure that what you submit is of C1 level. So that is definitely something to take into consideration. It may be a struggle with B1. Okay, if you have any doubts about that, I would definitely contact student support and see what they say. Okay, Ashu, I want to start with kindergarten kids. I would love to do that. Oh, it's a joy. Working with kids is just the best. It is. I miss it so much. I'm always so nostalgic for my time with young learners. Okay. So Belinda, I want to eat my way through Vietnam. For real. Can you imagine? Oh, wow. Oh, the food. It must be incredible. Oh yeah, let's all take a moment to think about the food. All right, thank you, Belinda. But that would be me in any country. Honestly, it's all about the food, always. All right, Willem, do online teachers get any joy from peer teaching? Does peer teaching apply in online lessons? Sure, you can absolutely try peer teaching. If you're teaching, say, on Zoom or on Google Meet or whatever, you can absolutely use the breakout rooms and like set your students tasks that will allow them to interact and do some peer teaching. For sure, I don't see why not. Peer teaching is always incredibly useful. And online, yeah, you can use breakout rooms to do this. Or even, if you're teaching a small group, like say maybe 3 or 4, maybe like a fun thing I used to do, like I'd find a reading text. I'd split it into 4 sections, or however many students I had in my small group, into 3 or 4 sections. Each student would get a different section of the text. And so each student would need to explain their section to the others who hadn't read it. And then, by working together and by explaining all of their sections, together they would form like a complete idea of the content of the text. Okay, so, creating tasks where there is an information gap and they need each other. They need to collaborate in order to get all of the information. So yeah, you can absolutely do this online. We can adapt pretty much any task, right, to include some element of peer teaching or collaboration. All right. Good. Okay. Andrea, is the issued date on the certificate the date you pass the final assignment or the date it's officially processed? Ooh, excellent question, Andrea. I must admit I'd never thought about it, but my instinct would be your process date. Okay, because you will finish your assignment, it'll be graded. Then you'll have to do the end of course survey. Then it will be printed, probably within that week. So I would imagine that it's the print date. But I could be wrong. So why don't you send a ticket to student support? And I'm sure they will know the answer. They tend to know the answer for all things logistics. But yeah, great question. I must actually ask them too. That would be interesting to know. Okay, and how long does it take after finishing all the tasks to get the certificate? So again, Andrea, this is definitely a question for you to ask student support. I should imagine within a couple of weeks, but they will be able to give you dates for sure. Okay, so pop both of those questions into a ticket for student support and they will let you know with accuracy. All right, thank you, Andrea. So Ashu, what is the interview generally like after the 120 hours TEFL? Sorry, I'm late. That's okay. So do you mean like the job interview process? So when you are applying for jobs, after you get your certification, those interviews depend on where you are applying to. Okay, so it won't be anything to do with us anymore. It won't be anything to do with the TEFL Academy. Whatever school or organization you apply for will conduct their own interview. Generally, Ashu, they will be asking you things like, what you learned during your TEFL certification process. They might ask you a couple of questions about teaching in different contexts. If you're applying for a job with young learners, they'll ask you, like, do you have any experience working with children? How has your TEFL certificate prepared you for teaching young learners? What are some common games and activities you might play with them? Do you have any past experience working with children that will stand you in good stead for this job? I think basically with any job interview, Ashu, your prospective employer just wants to know that you are enthusiastic and that you are willing to learn. Like you're willing and ready and able to bring the energy and bring the personality that it takes to teach English to young learners, or indeed to students of any age. Okay, whether it's 3-year-olds or 93-year-olds, you've got to bring that willingness and that enthusiasm. They are definitely the qualities that you want to transmit. All right. Thank you, Ashu. Willem, does the Academy help you with applying for jobs? At the end of the units, Willem, we do have a section on preparing CVs and preparing for interviews. We also have a TEFL Academy jobs board that tends to be quite busy, so we have a lot of vacancies posted. We do have a careers section to the company that you can ask for advice. So please do send an email to student support and ask them about our careers service. But yeah, the final unit of the course will prepare you for your job search. All right, and yeah, check out our jobs board. It's pretty busy. There's a lot going on there. All right, thank you, Willem. Ashu, is there any validity for the certificate? Suppose I want to apply for a few months. That is absolutely fine, Ashu, whenever you are ready. The certificate does not expire. Okay, once you have it, you have it. That's the really good news. Okay. So apologies, I'm so sniffly. I have my traditional Christmas cold every year like clockwork. This cold just grabs hold of me for 2 weeks. Okay, so I can see that we only have 1 minute left. Oh my gosh, that has gone so quickly. Great questions, guys. That's you have asked some really top quality questions. You've given me a lot to talk about. So thank you so much for that. Let me just go back and make sure I haven't missed anything. Yeah, I think we have answered all of those. Let me also remind you, in case you haven't heard it, one of my colleagues and I also have a weekly podcast where we talk about all things TEFL. Our podcast is called TEFL Unlocked. You can find a link to it on your course dashboard, or you can go straight to Spotify or Apple iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and search for us. We have, I think, nearly 60 episodes now. So every week we talk about something TEFL related, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So please check out TEFL Unlocked. Also, I'd like to remind you that all of our previous webinars are on YouTube. We've been doing them every week for years now, so there are tons of interesting topics there. Just, go along to the TEFL Academy YouTube channel and you will find us there. If you have any thoughts on this webinar or any suggestions for improvements or further webinars, please take a moment to fill out our very quick post-webinar survey. If you have a moment, we would love to hear your thoughts. In case you don't have a QR scanner, I am going to type the URL into the chat box. It is the world's longest URL, so this always takes a moment. Okay, excellent. So there is the link in the chat box. All right, so I think we're done. Thank you all again for hanging out with me today. I so appreciate it. And I wish you all of the very best of luck in your TEFL journey. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.